It is the process of, it is,
To
what is
balance the
a food
environment.
chain? The food chain is the process of eating and being eaten by. That means one is eating for itself and it is being eaten by the other one. Okay, got my point? They are of
Yes,
the
ma'am.
first order of consumer or second order of consumer, third order of consumer, fourth order of consumer. It may be depends on the type of ecosystem. The number may be varies. For example, a simple example, I am giving grass. Grass is eaten by the grasshopper. Grasshopper eaten by the frog. Frog is eaten by snake. Snake is eaten by hack. How
Eagle.
many how many level is here? There are 4 levels. Okay, first grasshopper is the herbivore. Frog is the first order consumer.
Madam,
Snake
fast.
is herbivore is the first order of consumer. Frog is the carnivore, that is your second order of consumer. Snake is the third secondary carnivore of the third order of consumer. Heck is the last
Omnivorous.
last one. That is
Omnivorous.
omnivorous, or we may call it the top consumer. It is at the top, hence it is called top consumer. So primary consumer is the herbivore. Always the question came, which is the primary consumer. Primary consumer is always a herbivore. Secondary consumers are the carnivores. The carnivores maybe second order consumer or third order consumer, or it may be the top consumer. Okay, got my point? Next is the decomposers. What are decomposers? So,
Ma'am, these are
as
microorganisms.
these are micro. If always the system going on, eating and being eaten by, there is maybe death and decay. Okay. As the life goes on, there is birth, growth, mature, reproduce, then old age came and death comes. If the death material are not decomposed properly, it will cause, what it will cause? If the decomposers are not present in the atmosphere, what will happen?
Ma'am, it
Environment
will
pollution.
increase the
Environment gets
pollution.
polluted,
Pollution in the environment.
pollution
Soil also
increases,
get
polluted.
soil
Okay,
pollution also increases.
important. Okay. So very good. But important is, it is essential for geochemical cycles. Geochemical cycles. What are the geochemical cycles? The mineral nutrient like nitrogen, sulfur, etc. are utilized by us. It has to be again, it has again to the atmosphere so that it can be utilized again and again. If you utilize it, one day it will be finished. Okay. So it should be recycled to the atmosphere. So the decomposers are the microorganism. For example, your fungus, okay, bacteria, fungus, which help in recycling the material as well as for uh, clearing the atmosphere from pollution. Hence, the cleaning the atmosphere from pollution as well as helps in mineral cycle. Hence, they are considered as nature's scavenger. Decomposers are otherwise known as the nature's scavenger. Okay. So, decomposers are the most important group of organisms in the ecosystem. They, the dead bodies of plants and animals are decomposed by these decomposers. The dead bodies, if they are not decomposed, the earth will be packed with the dead bodies and it creates pollution as well as the nature will suffer essential geochemical shortage. That is shortage of different inorganic molecules which are required for the development and growth of plants and animals. So the inorganic chemicals are to be recycled back to the atmosphere to be used again and again. So what are mostly recycled? That is your nitrogen cycle, sulfur cycle operated in the ecosystem, and they get recycled to the atmosphere. So the organisms which act as the decomposers, they have special mode of nutrition. Example is your fungi and bacteria. They are saprophytic in nature, means they grow on the death and decay material and derive their nutrition. Okay, so they have the saprophytic mode of nutrition which decomposes the dead organic substance, derive food and energy from them. So as the role of producer is important in an ecosystem, role of consumer is important for an ecosystem. Similarly, the decomposers also play important role in cleaning the environment as well as for recycling the minerals to the atmosphere. Hence, it is considered as nature's scavenger.
मैडम टिके गोटे
Okay, got
मिनिट
my point?
मैडम
Sir,
टिके
kuhନ୍ତୁ.
हाँ पिला तुम टिके लीव करके आउ थे जॉइन कलो ये क्लास टा पुनी 131 देखुची पिला सब पिला लीव कर जॉइन कलो मैडम अच्छा तो तुम लीव कर जॉइन कलो समस्त टिके लीव कर आउ थे जॉइन करो कौन माने एपड़े मैडम आप लीव कर जॉइन करियो
हाँ ठीक अच्छे सर.
हाँ ये कौन देखो भूल देखो तो नहीं मैडम
Hello sir.
हाँ नहीं
Okay. So next come to the abiotic substance. This complete your biotic system. Next come to the abiotic substance. What are the abiotic component? Along with the biotic system, there must be the biotic component for proper regulation of the ecosystem. So what are the abiotic factor? Abiotic factor are the non-living substances. These non-living substances enter the body of the living organisms. They take part in the physiological activities like metabolism and then return to the atmosphere or the environment. Okay. So abiotic component has been divided into three parts. One is physical factor, number two is inorganic substance, number three is organic substance. What are the physical factors? Physical factors are the temperature, humidity,
Light,
precipitation,
temperature.
light, etc. Okay. Inorganic substance such as water, carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus. Then organic substance are protein, carbohydrate, lipid, and other chemic substances. So there is a cycle of material between the living organisms as well as the non-living environment. Okay. So there is the biogeochemical cycle takes place between both living, non-living organism as well as with the environment. So sun is the solar energy, or sun is the ultimate source of energy for an ecosystem. The energy from the sun is captured by the plants. Okay. And they prepare the food. The food is absorbed and there is synthesis of new macromolecules, and then there is death and decay of the organism, and by the decomposers the mineral materials are again recycled to the environment. Okay, so the organic substances are the building blocks of the living body, and they link the biotic and abiotic components. The materials continuously cycle from the environment to the living one, and again from the living organism to the environment by the death and decay. This cycle is known as your biogeochemical cycle. Okay. Next comes to your trophic level. The trophic structure of an ecosystem is one kind of producer-consumer arrangement where each food level is called the trophic level. So in a food chain, already we have discussed, the levels are: first came the producer, then came the primary consumer, then the secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, and decomposer. Okay, so each is a trophic level. So the organisms of the trophic level, they linked with each other by the food chain. Okay, so food chain we have already discussed how the producer consumer, they are linked with each other. So the number of trophic level varies from ecosystem to ecosystem. So in grassland, forest, pond, ecosystem, there we found various types of food chains in different ecosystems. Okay. So next comes your food web. So a single food chain cannot exist in a environment. In an environment, a single food chain cannot exist because the trophic relationship between the organism and the ecosystem is not always constant or not always a simple chain like fashion, but it is a complicated network. So network of food chain together constitute your food web. For example, in a grassland ecosystem, grass is not only eaten by the grasshopper, it also eaten by the rat, it is also eaten by the cows, also eaten by the goat, and these primary consumers or herbivores are eaten by other group of consumers sequentially. For example, if grass is eaten by the grasshopper, grasshopper eaten by the toad, toad eaten by the snake. If the grass is eaten by the rat is also eaten by the snake, and snake by heck. Okay. So the two ecosystem, snake is common in both. Okay. So there are several simple food chains. They are interlinked with each other to form a food web. So in different ecosystem, grassland, forest, as well as a pond, there are several food webs operated. Next comes to what are the major ecosystems found on the earth's surface. One is your natural ecosystem, other is your artificial ecosystem. Natural ecosystem operated by themselves under natural conditions without the influence of man. For example, open water, that is aquatic ecosystem, which include your pond, okay, then river, ocean, etc. Terrestrial ecosystem as a forest, grassland, desert, which are natural. Then artificial ecosystem, that is the man-made ecosystem. Here, these are maintained artificially by man by the addition of energy as well as plant manipulation. Example is your crop fields, gardens, parks, etc. Okay. So aquatic ecosystem again divided as freshwater as well as marine. Okay, the components are given in the book. You can go through it. Next comes to your energy flow in an ecosystem. Why energy is required to operate ecosystem? Energy is required for everyone to do the work. What is energy? Energy is the, what is energy? Who can define energy? Energy is the essential requirement of all living organism to do work. Without energy, no work can be done. Okay. So, different processes, if energy is not there, no work will be there. And the all living organism that are doing different physiological or biochemical process will be stopped. Okay. Hence, energy can be defined as the ability to do work. There are two kinds of energy, as you know, potential energy and the kinetic energy. Potential energy, the energy stored from the biomolecules, is the potential energy or the stored energy. Kinetic energy is the free energy, that is the energy of motion. So, how the energy from the producer to the consumer flows to do work. Someone is writing something.
ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ ଆପଣ ପଢ଼ାନ୍ତୁ, ସେ ତ ଷ୍ଟଡି ମେଟେରିଆଲ ପାଇଁ ଲେଖିଛି, କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା ନାହିଁ, ପଢ଼ାନ୍ତୁ।
So, the
ହଁ,
flow
ନେଟରେ ତ
of
ଆଭେଲେବୁଲ
energy,
ଅଛି।
okay. So, the flow of energy, you will find all these things in your study material. If you will not got it, you will got it. Okay. So, the flow of energy in an ecosystem obeys two laws of thermodynamics. The first law of thermodynamics and the second law of thermodynamics. What the first law of thermodynamics said? Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. It can only converted from one form to the other. And according to the second law, there can be no transformation of energy unless energy change is from a concentrated to a dispersed form. So, how the energy flows from sun to the different consumers? It can be given by a box and pipe model. Okay. In a box and pipe model, it is given. So, in the box and pipe model, the producer that captures the most of the energy coming from the sun, utilize it. And after utilizing the absorbed energy for its growth, nutrition, etc., rest energy get wasted out in form of heat, excretion, respiration, etc. Those energy are not utilized, get stored, but passes through the next level. Okay. Similarly, after taking the energy for different purposes, the primary consumer releases energy to the next level. Okay. If you find the diagram, I am trying to show you the diagram. Wait a minute. Diagram is clear to you, not, or wait a minute. If the diagram is clear to you all, as you don't get your material, you can follow this diagram. Okay. This is the unidirectional flow of energy. Is the diagram is clear to you all or not? All of you can see the diagram that I am sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So look at the picture. The solar energy came from the sun. The solar energy from the sun absorbed by the plants or the producers. This is the carnivore. Here, hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you can see that this is a box and pipe model, which shows the transfer of energy or energy flow in an unidirectional energy flow in an ecosystem. It is a universal model which is applicable to any ecosystem. So here the plants, animals, microorganisms are linked together to form a food chain. So this model depicts, which shows the boxes as the trophic level. You can see the boxes are gradually decreases in size. The producer shows a large box, then herbivore little bit smaller, carnivore little bit smaller. As we go on the trophic level, the boxes become decreases in the size. What are the boxes represent? They represent the each trophic level, that what the energy it got. And pipe also, you can see the width of the pipe. It also goes on decreasing. Okay, that is the flow of energy from one trophic level to the next trophic level. Okay, this model represent in which case the appropriate energy input and links with other species. Here, the autotrophs, the assimilated energy is the gross primary production or the gross photosynthesis. GPP is written here. That is your gross primary production. The term gross primary production is restricted to the autotrophs because they can only produce the food material for the ecosystem by the process of photosynthesis. So here the model it also shows the assimilation as well as the respiration components. R for respiration and here excretion, EHC, heat energy. Okay, so the fixed energy, that is bond and lost as heat, designated as respiration, heat energy, respiration as R, heat energy, and excretion EHC. Okay, so after this non-utilized form of energy, the energy remain from the gross production is called net primary production, which process from the producers to the consumers. And the energy flow in one direction only. It is not reversible. From the consumer, energy cannot be backward towards the producers. It only produce in the forward direction. Okay, one direction only. The total energy fixed or assimilated becomes the part of the biomass after respiratory utilization. At each stage, some amount of energy is lost, that is represented as heat energy and not utilized energy, NU for not utilized. Okay, and the net production remain, that passes to the next trophic level. Okay, so the production components of the energy available to the next trophic level, that is remain not utilized or after utilization for the plant or the animals. It depends on whether the full production is eaten by the next trophic level or only used part or chewed part in the diagram. So the whole biomass becomes the available net production. Okay, next, those remain after the utilization for different functions, the energy remain, that goes to the next trophic. Okay, so it is it obeys the 10% rule. Approximately 10%, it is already calculated that only 10% passes from one trophic level to the next trophic. Okay, so if suppose the producer have 10,000 kilocalorie of energy produced after the photosynthesis, then primary consumer will obtain 10% of it, that is 1000 kilocalorie. Then secondary consumer will obtain 10% of it, that is 100 kilocalorie. And tertiary consumer will obtain its 10%, that is your 10 kilocalorie. So if there is another trophic level, then it will obtain only 1 kilocalorie. Okay, so it obeys the 10%. The rate at which energy is accumulated per unit time in the organism is known as productivity. Green plant has fixed energy, hence it is known as primary productivity. The total solar energy fixed by the green plant in the process of photosynthesis is known as gross primary production. And from the total food synthesized, some amount of energy utilized in the process of respiration and residual energy that is stored is known as net primary productivity, GPP, NPP. Okay, and this NPP passes to the next trophic. Okay, got my point? All of you can understand the single way of flow of energy by box and pipe model. Okay, it is also given in your book. You can also follow it. Got my point? Next comes your ecological pyramids. So as considering the trophic structure and also trophic function that can be shown graphically by means of ecological pyramids. What is a pyramid? Pyramid is the arrangement, different arrangement of different trophic level from base. There is a base to the top. At the base there are the producer and the successive levels from the tiers which form the consumers, primary, secondary, tertiary consumers and the top consumers at the apex. It is proposed by Charles Elton. Hence, it is otherwise known as your Eltonian pyramid. So, pyramid is of three types. Pyramid number, pyramid of biomass, pyramid of energy. Pyramid of energy, we have already discussed in one-way flow of energy, that is from the box and pipe model. It is always unidirectional. That means pyramid is always upright. But pyramid number, it can be upright, it can be invert. Okay. If producers are more, it is upright. For example, in a grassland, it is upright because the number of grasses is more than deers, depending on the grasses. They are lesser in number. Then wolves depend on the deers. They are lesser in number. Then lions depend on the others. Their number is less. Hence, when you go to the top consumer, the numbers goes and decrease. Hence, it is a straight pyramid or upright pyramid. But if we consider a tree ecosystem, tree is one, but on the one tree, there are fruit-eating birds are more, and the parasite depends on the fruit-eating birds. There are more in number than hyperparasites. They are more in number than that of your parasite. Hence, it is inverted. Similarly, the pyramid of biomass in pond ecosystem, it is straight or upright, where biomass means the fresh weight of the organism. For example, the phytoplanktons that are more in weight, their fresh weight is more than primary consumer zooplankton. Their weight is also their weight less than the phytoplanktons. Small fishes, depending on the zooplankton, their mass is less, and large fish, those depend on the small fish, their biomass is less than the smaller fish. Hence, the pyramid is. Similarly, in case of energy, as we already discussed, it obeys 10% law and it is always upright because energy never flow in a reverse direction. Okay, so today to this we have completed one of your unit. So you go through your study material. You can ask. Okay. So we will, with this we will wind up the class. You go through your book. Next class, you can ask the doubts. Any doubts you can ask. Okay.
Ma'am, ma'am, I have a doubt.
Pochar.
In some cases,
Mm-hmm.
the spindle-shaped ecological pyramid is shows. So,
Spindle or rhombus shape.
huh.
Rhombus
So I
shape
have a
pyramid
doubt about
is
that. Hmm.
rhombus shape pyramid when there is the number is producer number is less and top consumer is less, but intermediate one are more, then it creates a rhombus structure. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
It depends on the number.
ପିଲା ଆଉ କାହାର କଣ ପଚାରିବାର ଅଛି? ପଚାର ମ୍ୟାଡାମ, ପଚାର ଯଦି ଡାଉଟ୍ କଣ ଅଛି? ଆଉ କିଏ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ କରିବ? ଓକେ, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ମ୍ୟାଡାମ।
Okay, sir.
ପିଲା ତମେ ଯୋଉ ଜଏନ୍ କରୁଛ, ଆମର ଅଙ୍କିତା ମ୍ୟାଡାମ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ପରେ ପରେ ଇମିଡିଏଟଲି ଲିଭ୍ କରିଯିବ ସମସ୍ତେ, ତାପରେ ପୁଣି ଜଏନ୍ କରିବ ଆଉଥରେ, ହେଲା? ସେ ତ ଏକା ଲିଙ୍କ ଅଛି, ଆଉଥରେ ପୁଣି ଜଏନ୍ କରିବ, ବୁଝିଲ? ଫାଷ୍ଟ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ପରେ ପରେ ସରିଲା ପରେ ତମେ ଟିକେ ଲିଭ୍ କରିଯିବ, ତାପରେ ପୁଣି ଜଏନ୍ କରିଯିବ, ହେଲା?
ओके सर।
Okay, sir. Sir, please
ହଁ,
हिंदी में
କାଲିଠାରୁ
एक
ଠିକ୍
बार
ଅଛି।
बोल दीजिए
ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ
सर।
ୟୁ, ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ଅଲ୍। हाँ
सर हिंदी में एक बार बोल दीजिए सर, उड़िया समझ नहीं
हाँ
आ
हाँ,
रहा।
फास्ट क्लास खत्म होने के बाद, अंकिता मैडम की क्लास खत्म होने के बाद एक बार लीव कर जाइए, फिर दोबारा ज्वाइन कीजिए, ठीक है? वही तो सेम
ओके
लिंक
सर।
है, दोबारा ज्वाइन कीजिए। ओके, थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है तो दोबारा ज्वाइन कीजिए, सब लोग लीव कर जाइए, फिर दोबारा ज्वाइन कीजिए। ओके,
सर स्टडी मटेरियल बुक सर डाउनलोड अभी तक नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ सर, कोई थोड़ा हेल्प करेंगे सर?
आप ई ज्ञान कोश में जाइए, ठीक है? ई ज्ञान कोश .ac.in, ओके, वहां पर सब मटेरियल अवेलेबल है,
हाँ सर
ठीक है?
उसमें गया हूँ
उसको
मगर
देख सकते
उसमें
हो। ये
सब्जेक्ट चॉइस नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, कोई हेल्प करेंगे, कुछ हेल्प करेंगे सर, सर अच्छा होगा।
क्यों? क्यों? आपका एनरोलमेंट नंबर दोगे, जो कोर्स आप लिए हैं उसको चॉइस करोगे, उसके बाद देखोगे, होगा।
सर वही नहीं कर
उसके
पा रहा
बाद
हूँ
क्या है,
सर।
और एक बात मैं बताता हूँ, और थोड़ा ट्राई करो, ठीक है? नेट ऑनलाइन में ई ज्ञान कोश में है। और एक बात मैं बताता हूँ, उसके बाद उसका गाइड बुक सब है, BBYCT-131, सो डिफरेंट ये का पब्लिशर का। आप देखिए ऑनलाइन में BBYCT-131, गूगल में सर्च करने से वो सब गाइड बुक आएगा, कैसे क्वेश्चन प्रिपेयर करोगी, उसको भी खरीद कर सकते हो। आपको मैंने क्वेश्चन कैसे प्रिपेयर करोगे थोड़ा नॉलेज के लिए, ठीक है? ओके, ଆଉ ତମେ ନେକ୍ସଟ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ପଢିକି ଆସିବ, ଯାହା ଡାଉଟ୍ ରହିବ ମ୍ୟାଡାମକୁ ପଚାରିବ, ଠିକ ଅଛି? ଯାହା କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ମାନଙ୍କ ତୁ ଜାଣିପାରୁନ, କେମିତି କ'ଣ ଲେଖିବ, କ'ଣ କରିବ, ପଚାରିବ, କିଛି ଅସୁବିଧା। କାଉନସିଲିଂ କ୍ଲାସ୍, ତମ ମ୍ୟାଡାମକୁ ପଚାରିବ କେମିତି ଲେଖିବୁ, କେମିତି କ'ଣ କରିବୁ, କ'ଣ କ'ଣ ପଏଣ୍ଟସ୍ ଦବୁ, ପଚାରିବ, ହେଲା? ବୁଝିହେଲା? କାଲି କ'ଣ ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ୍ ଅଛି କହିବ। ଥ୍ୟାଙ୍କ ୟୁ ଅଲ୍।
पढ़ के आयो, पढ़ के आयो, पढ़ रहा है तो नहीं कर, पढ़ के क्यों पढ़